Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And is it possible that Nintendo just unintentionally let it slip that they are indeed working on a Nintendo Switch Pro? Well, evidence is starting to stack up that this is actually a real thing, as we've talked about pretty extensively in the past, and we have more evidence on that today. We will go over all of that later on in the video. Also, Xbox might have some big partnerships that they will be announcing in the very near future and possibly at E3. From the sounds of it, these will be new unannounced games, so stay tuned for that as well. First though, let's go on a trip filled with nostalgia. For kids who grew up playing Sega consoles, may vaguely remember Alex Kidd, which was Sega's first real mascot. However, Sega's biggest competitor Nintendo had their own little mascot by the name of Mario. Yeah, you might know that name just a little bit. I think Mario has starred in a few games over the years, but yeah, Sega started to shift focus to a new mascot that could better compete with Mario. Well, that's how Sonic was born, but with Sonic's birth, Alex Kidd kind of took a back seat. He was quickly forgotten and hasn't had a new game since 1990. Yeah, it's been a while for poor Alex Kidd, but today I'm happy to confirm that Alex Kidd is set to return on June 24th in Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. This is a remake of the classic that released in 1986 and will be available on pretty much every major platform. This includes Xbox, the Switch, PlayStation, and PC through Steam or the Epic Games Store. It will be $20, and if you have fond memories of the original, you can now go back and play it once again with better overall visuals and some other notable upgrades. They are saying it comes with new levels, new modes, more fluid controls, and more. It sounds like a pretty decent remake overall, and I like what we're seeing here with Sega recently. They have been bringing back some of their old dormant IP. Last year we got Streets of Rage 4, which was an absolutely fantastic game, definitely go check that out, and now we get Alex Kidd. I want to see Sega continue to embrace their heritage. If we can get a nice mix of newer games like Yakuza mixed in with some older IP, I'm all for that. And speaking of retro games, there's been a trend in the last few years of old retro games getting a Battle Royale mode. Of course, the Battle Royale genre blew up with PUBG and then later on Fortnite, and since that point, we've been seeing a lot of different renditions of this genre. One of the more interesting ones to me though is mixing Battle Royale with retro games. You have Tetris 99, Bomberman R Online, and we did have Mario 35. Sadly, Mario died though. Rest in peace, little plumber boy, we will forever remember you. However, he was reincarnated on Nintendo Switch Online, where Pac-Man 99 will take over from where he left off. Now this is actually pretty cool and seems like a nice fit. Basically, it's the same Pac-Man you've grown to know and love, but it takes some cues from Mario 35. Anytime you eat a ghost in Pac-Man, that ghost will then be sent to another player, making it more difficult for them to navigate. There's even like this train of ghosts in this edition. It will probably be pretty chaotic, and I'm interested to see how some of the hardcore Pac-Man players perform in this game. There are some legit really good Pac-Man players out there, so I wonder if they will jump into the chaotic multiplayer mode. And here's the really cool thing. Pac-Man 99 releases today. There is a very good chance by the time this video is published, Pac-Man 99 will have already released, so definitely go check that out. Next up, let's talk about PlayStation for a moment. Last week, we got a huge announcement that MLB The Show 21 will be heading to Xbox Game Pass Day 1 on April 20th. That was a big surprise considering MLB The Show is a PlayStation-developed game. I mean, we knew it was going to be multi-platform, but to have it come to Xbox Game Pass Day 1 is still absolutely mind-blowing. Well, it looks like this decision was not made by Sony themselves. They did confirm that this was a decision made by MLB and not Sony. I did say that last week, that is rather expected. You have to understand that yes, while it is a PlayStation-developed game, it's still a licensed game. And that's the exact reason that this is a multi-platform game now. MLB seems to want to expand, and I'm sure in order for PlayStation to keep the license, they had to agree to multi-platform. Obviously, Sony isn't going to want to let go of the MLB The Show IP considering it is consistently one of their better selling games in the United States. Ultimately, they will make more money from this partnership. I'm sure they probably aren't exactly thrilled about the Xbox Game Pass deal for PR reasons, But at the same time, PlayStation will continue to make a lot of money on the MLB franchise, which is why they are keeping the license. Really, I think this is a win-win situation. PlayStation continues to make money, MLB gets to expand, and Xbox can now easily introduce Xbox players to MLB The Show with the luxury of having it in Xbox Game Pass. Now, we also need to talk about Final Fantasy XVI and its exclusivity deal. So this was already kind of known, but it has once again resurfaced thanks to some fine print on the PlayStation website. It simply notes that it's not available on other consoles for a limited time. In other words, Final Fantasy XVI is a timed PS5 console exclusive. They do have some kind of deal in place to where Final Fantasy XVI cannot appear on other consoles for a specific amount of time. And okay, I know if you might think that this is just some kind of typo, but as I said before, this was kind of already known about. And the initial reveal trailer right at the end said the exact same thing in fine print. Yet it is a confirmed timed exclusive with them repeatedly showing this in fine print. The main question now is how long will it remain a PS5 exclusive? I mean, they also got Forspoken for 2 years, which is another Square Enix game, and Final Fantasy VII Remake still hasn't appeared on other platforms besides PlayStation. There is some speculation that they extended that deal, though nothing about that is confirmed just yet. All we know for the moment is that there is some type of partnership here between PlayStation and Square Enix. And I've said this before, but I'm not really a huge fan of big-time exclusives like this, but at the same time, I can understand them from a business perspective. PlayStation would not do this if it wasn't working out for them, and I'm sure Square Enix is probably making a lot of money as well. A lot of people who don't follow game news just doesn't know when a game is a timed exclusive, but that's why I'm here for you all. You all will have all the information you need in order to make a well-informed purchase, and this one does appear to be another timed exclusive for the PS5. I know I'm buying it day one for the PS5, but if you don't have a PS5 and you only have an Xbox or a PC, there is a strong possibility that this will eventually come to those platforms. Moving on, those Nintendo Switch Pro rumors are starting to heat up once again. It seems like on a monthly basis, we have at least one of these big Switch Pro leaks, and this one is coming from a new Nintendo Switch firmware update. Nintendo just released the 12.0.0 update, and on the surface, it doesn't really seem like anything important. You know, maybe a stability update. Platform makers love to post those updates without much context, so it would be easy to view this update as just another stability improvement. Well, about that, data miners decided to look a little deeper, and what they found is highly interesting. So apparently, Nintendo has added the capability for the dock's firmware to be updated. Now, the Switch has been out for 4 years, and not one time has the dock needed an update, so why now all of a sudden? And that right there is the thing that makes this data mine just so intriguing. This is amidst rumors of a Nintendo Switch Pro releasing with a new dock that has its own chip and can output 4K resolution via DLSS. We have talked about that report in the past. That would be a major improvement alongside the rumored OLED screen in handheld mode. Well, with this new data mine, it does seem to suggest that 4K dock could actually be real. Reportedly, this data mine even mentions 4K. I mean, could this simply just be a big coincidence? And technically, yeah, it could, but there are just too many rumors around the Switch Pro that all seems to be pointing to the exact same thing. If you ask me, yes, I do think that there is a very real possibility that a new Switch is coming. Of course, we still don't have a confirmation, but where there's smoke, there's often a fire. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of smoke around a Switch Pro using a 4K dock. If it is real though, when will we hear about it? Well, what about E3? Nintendo has confirmed that they will be at E3 in June, so could they possibly reveal a Switch Pro there? That's how they revealed the 3DS back in 2010, so that could be possible. We could end up getting a big E3 announcement of this thing as early as June. However, they could instead hold off until closer to its release, which is rumored to be this holiday. For a platform holder, it is important to announce new hardware close to its release because that could kill momentum for current devices already available, which the Switch is selling at a record-breaking pace. They might not exactly want to intervene with that success just yet. It might not necessarily be a good idea to announce a new Switch too soon, and that is important to keep in mind. We'll see though, but leaks just continue to pour out when it comes to the quote-unquote Switch Pro. Now onto the Xbox portion of the video. They also confirmed they will be at E3 this June, which means excitement will really start to ramp up in the next couple of months. And with that, so will leaks. In today's world where you have all these different insiders willing to share information online, leaks are absolutely inevitable. It's bound to happen, so in the next few months we'll probably hear a lot about different E3 plans from all of the participants, and I think we already got a tease of one of those for Xbox. This one is coming from Jez Corden and Clobril, which are both well-respected Xbox insiders. So there is a reason to believe this one, and both of them are claiming that fans need to be paying attention to Xbox Game Studios publishing. Now this is the Xbox studio that partners up with different independent studios to develop a game together. Games like Crackdown, Flight Simulator, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Recore, Tell Me Why, and Quantum Break all came from XGS Publishing and studios they partnered up with. So yeah, they always have something in development, and that's no big surprise, but it sounds like at least one of their unannounced upcoming games will be announced very soon. So basically what happened was that Jez took to Twitter to say don't count out Xbox Global Publishing. According to him, they have some interesting partnerships in the works. And then later on, Clobril kind of went into more details about this mysterious tweet. Clobril says that he is confident that we will see some of the fruits of XGS Publishing in less than 10 weeks. Well, 10 weeks from now is June 17th, which is right after E3. So from the sounds of this post, we could end up seeing at least one of Xbox's partnerships at this upcoming E3. Yeah, that already makes E3 much more exciting. I mean, we don't know what these games are or whether they'll even be good or not, but in 24 hours, we got confirmation of several big publishers participating in E3. Xbox might reveal some unannounced partnerships there, and then who knows, maybe a Switch Pro reveal. I'm still a little hesitant on that one, but I do know one thing. I'm definitely excited for E3 to return. In fact, let's take a look at the poll of the day. With ESA detailing a digital E3 for 2021 with a new portal and app, do you all think this E3 will succeed? And the large majority of you all do believe it will be successful. It seems like many of you all just really did not like the Summer Game Fest last year and how spread out all of these events were. You all want all of these announcements to take place in just a few days' time, and we're going to see that this year in a digital format. It will be a little different considering we won't hear the reactions from a live crowd though. Those live crowds do add something special to these announcements. I mean, all of these years later, I remember the crowd going absolutely crazy over the Zelda Twilight Princess E3 reveal. That was just such a beautiful moment in gaming history, but truthfully, I don't mind a digital event. It sounds like they have some cool ideas with this new app and online portal. We'll see how all that works, but what will be interesting is to see what E3 is like in 2022. If this is successful, could E3 continue being a digital event? I guess we need to see how all this works out in 2021, but I think it's time to start the hype train for E3 2021. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.